You just about run out of time. Just about lost your mind. At least you finally know wrong from right. Time to leave it all behind. No, there was nothing you could do. No, the fault don't lie in you. Still, it's hard to see the truth. But it's fine, leave it all behind. Getting really tired, always crying. You know that one day it'll all be fine. Down the road, you'll see the sign of that place you left behind. No more pain. Just the breeze. No more screaming. Just the trees. No more hurt. Just the sound of the ocean and the sun going down. Leave it all behind. Leave it all behind. Leave it all behind. Leave it all behind. Dry those tears off your face. There's only so much time and space. In my heart, I know you're all mine. I had to leave it all behind. I had to leave it all behind.
That is such a great song, man. What a beautiful way to start the stream. What's up, guys? I have to give you a warning that you may hear some banging on the roof above. We weren't able to do any live streams this last week because there's construction going on. And the one thing I asked the landlord is, will they be here on Saturday and or Sunday? Please call me back if they are. And since I never heard from her, we scheduled this live stream, and 8 o'clock in the morning, they were banging on my fucking roof. So I'm going to probably do a lot of muting during this and let Marcus talk, which is fine because we're going to be covering part 5 of the story. But I just wanted to say it's good to see you guys again, as it's been a while. Yeah. Hey, Daniel, and hey, Uma. And we have Goldie extraordinaire, mod extraordinaire in the chat. Good to see you again, my friend. And we have In Theta already typing away. And you're supposed to be focusing on the stream, young man.
Yeah. None of those links work except for the In Theta one, so I'm doing a bad job at the adminning.
Amen. Okay, so let's get right into it. So what we
I just wanted to thank everybody who said that they enjoyed the song. I'm glad that did something. That's what I do it for.
Indeed. By the way, where can they find your music, Marcus, if they want to explore that further?
The official. Hold on, let me get the link. Should have had that, I guess.
I'm sure I already have them in the description box.
Yeah, those are the ones that I sent.
Guys, you can find all the things that links to
Here.
Marcus's
There
in
we
Theta.
go.
You
I
got
got it right here in the
All right,
chat.
cool.
Boom.
Hell yeah. Thank you.
There's that.
There it is, guys. And that also is in the description box as we speak. So here's what we covered before. This is Backflash Fridays, and we're intertwining Marcus's story with other elements of Scientology, and we're figuring out what we want to do, kind of the direction we want to go in, and we have some ideas. But in the meantime, if you go to the homepage, you can always find the playlist here. These are the latest uploads. And then here's the series, the Raising a Secret Society series. And right below that is Backflash Fridays. Every Friday at 2 p.m. unless there's roof construction going on. And this is part 1 and part 2.
This is why I said just Backflash.
Yeah, I know, dude. But I like to keep it at a regular time so people know when to tune in and so I can be prepared or whatever. It's no problem to make it. So how Marcus Sawyer was recruited into Scientology, part 1 and 2 are here. We covered hard sell. Marcus was a staff member, which we covered in these interviews as well. And one of the keys to extorting money out of my parents, shame on you, Marcus, was the hard sell pack. We covered the Danny Masterson retrial and ex-Scientology infighting, selling Scientology to celebrities. And this one is Scientology's purification rundown, which is the first step on the bridge. And I have a feeling we're going to do a few videos breaking down the whole bridge, the auditing, and the training side. And we're going to demonstrate using lists and stuff with that. Because one of the things that's lacking, and that what somebody commented on, is show us what the fuck Scientologists do. You know, we hear a lot about the stories and everything, but what the fuck are you guys actually doing? And I think that would give you a good idea as to how in the hell anybody would fall for what on the outside seems ludicrous. Part 3 and 4 of Marcus's story is from Scientology staff to suppress a person right here. And here's part 4. And I don't want him to have to relive where we left off because it was kind of intense, that last video. But do you mind, Marcus, for people that are new, can you give a 60-second rundown of how you got into Scientology, the Purif, you move out to LA, you go on staff, and then how you got out? Because we're going to pick it up from there. And the reason we started off with leave it all behind is because he ends up leaving Los Angeles after this dramatic event. And you're going to see how long on average it takes somebody. Leaving the cult is step 1 physically, but then there's a whole process, usually the indie route, the methadone route, which Marcus and many, many other people go on.
I didn't take methadone.
You know what I mean, dude. The indie Scientology route means you leave the cult, but you still haven't got the tech out of your brain, and you might still believe in the tech. And why would you have it out of your brain when you don't even know what the fuck just happened to you? So if you don't leave under the circumstance like I did, where someone just happens to drop a book off on your doorstep explaining the whole fucking thing, a lot of people end up going the indie route. It takes years to suss that there might be something wrong with Hubbard and the tech. And I did a video on this called the 10 Steps Out of Scientology. If you want to see more about, to relate to what are you cackling about over there, Marcus?
Cynthia, she's like, shots anyone? Like, because last time.
Oh, I thought that would be Lady that would say that. Lady, it's good to see you in the chat. I always feel, I just picture you on your sofa, just throwing back the vodkas and beaming it on the big screen and just chilling out.
Well, we all know what the trigger word is for that. So
what's that?
Well, I'm not going to repeat it because I don't want anyone to have to take a shot right now.
Oh, right.
You remember it?
I do. Yeah. Do you guys in the chat remember? If you do, we'll throw up the bonus thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny. And by the way, if you're just joining us, I just love to use this transition.
Yes. Wow.
Welcome to being hypnotized by Xenia.
Wow. That's what Scientology's like, baby.
Exactly. We're trying to give people that experience.
Aliens, man.
That's Aliens. From days. But
it really is a hypnotic experience.
Absolutely. You know, on that, Marcus, you know what I've been trying to do with the series and just the videos in general is to give people that experience. And one of the things that did that for me was the movie The Master. Do you remember that? It wasn't really Scientology, but it fucking captured. If you go into a movie theater and you watch that thing, or at least I did, I came out of there going, well, it's not exactly Scientology. It's clearly based on that, but goddamn that they captured the hypnotic feeling that you have going through that picture.
You know, and why did that guy have anything to do with him for so long? You know, it's just such a
Yeah.
fucked up relationship and abusive things and manipulation and
Yeah.
using and,
Yeah.
taking advantage of somebody who's, already in a hard spot. Um, Dude was a veteran. Yeah, it's great,
I know,
great
but
film.
it captured almost your experience that you're going to talk
Yeah,
about too, why somebody stays for so long in an abusive relationship. I love that fucking movie.
yeah.
So do
So
you want
the
to
so
give
the
a
elevator pitch, right? The elevator pitch, the 60-second version. Um, so I was a young professional in Nashville. Uh, my history prior to that is a whole subject matter that I can't cover in 60 seconds, um, but I am working on actually working on a documentary on that right now. Um, so and of the last couple of years, records, hurricanes, stuff like that. Um, so the I had this condition where I was hallucinating. I went in based on a book that I bought at Walden Books, and I ended up in the Baton Rouge Mission. I did the purification rundown. It quote saved my life, and in a way it did, and in a way it didn't. Um, and similar thing happened with my brother. Um, you have to ask him about what that was. So that kind of makes this experience, my experience, very subjective, right? So,
Mhm.
and then also, uh, at some point, his wife got, involved and came out, supposedly to get him out. But the I ended up in Ventura after being recruited, and Travis and I were both recruited at the same time to go out to Ventura, California, where I was trained by Jim Hamry and Kathy Steiner and Iris Sandman and Ed. God, I can't remember his name. Ed.
Me neither, but that guy was so cool. He was one of the only cool people in the cult, man.
Vicky Miller, people at different names that I can't remember that are in the pictures that I showed
Mm-hmm.
from ASHO and that's called the American St. Hill Organization.
On L. Ron
Uh,
Hubbard Way, which is where
right.
they also deliver the advanced courses.
It's where the big blue building is, and right across the street they do advanced org, so it's all the advanced OT materials. And so I was trained all over in that area under the guidance of those people, and I had some seniors that were junior to those people, but ultimately I reported to the seniors, um, and did a whole bunch of recruiting and just weird, wacky behavior where you were doing a lot of call in and asking for a lot of money, selling books, sometimes throughout the night with Monica. Um,
There we go.
there, shit.
It's all right.
Okay, I did that one on purpose.
Lady, take a shot. You got permission.
I know Cynthia.
Drinkers are to take a shot
Mm.
every time you hear the word Monica, and stoners are to take a hit at the pipe or bong every time you hear the word Monica. And
Can I
she's
be
the miss.
exempt because I did a gravity bong rip?
Yeah, and it's
Okay.
clearly obvious. Hey Marcus, we'll do a video when we conclude your story on Monica to reveal the mystery woman and to tie in all the dots. We have to, bro. We have to.
Oh,
There's a
you're
story
probably
behind her.
not wrong. You're probably not wrong.
She was at the Ventura Mission, guys, and we will do a video on her separately. But there's
So
a little inside joke,
yeah,
obviously.
we just said it three. I don't know how many times. So people are gonna get drunk real quick if we keep doing
Yep,
that.
they already are.
Or stone.
Have at it from a poet.
Do it up. All right. So I end up in Melrose after all this training with uh,
At Ventura, right?
my senior. I'm gonna say my senior. uh, and my seniors, which would be Kathy, Tom, uh, uh, who else would Iris would technically be my senior.
Oh wow.
Some people had a lot of seniors I didn't have, but we didn't have a lot of people. So I would
Was
say,
Monica your senior?
yes, she was my direct senior.
Really? Okay.
Yes, Monica Galler was my direct senior.
Wow.
Like at the mission.
Mm-hmm.
My senior, I had seniors at
At
AO. I had
Melrose?
seniors
I
at each
see.
org. I had a
Really?
Celebrity Center. I had a senior.
What do you
Yeah.
mean by that, Marcus? Like when you were taking courses, AO, you had to report specifically to someone that was in tandem with the Ventura and/or Melrose mission. How did that kind of work out? What do you?
As far as I know, yeah, it was all designed and sort of networked as the mission was forming and opening
Mhm.
with Tom and Kathy as to what terminals would be.
I see.
I don't know if that makes sense to people, but what
It
people
makes
will be
sense to me.
connected to what people. And because, the way it seems to me on the outside now is that there are multiple, and looking back on my own experience, is that there are sometimes multiple like frauds going on, and they have to keep them, you know, isolated and only interacting with specific people. Otherwise, information that they don't
Yeah,
want to spread will
that makes
become
total
known.
sense. Can I put that into human translation just for people that don't know what we're talking about? So Marcus was on staff, and his seniors were the people that I talk about all the time, Tom and Kathy Steiner, as well as others, and Monica and such. I'm not going to pull it up. And so,
God,
because
we're
he's
getting
under
hammered.
the kind of control that staff is under, is every little thing would be monitored, including who Marcus would then report to do his training on L. Ron Hubbard Way at ASHO and Celebrity Center, which is close by. So he's kept under control as to who he's allowed to talk to and who his seniors would be. Whereas me, a public, I just simply go in and take the courses, don't have to answer to anybody. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a really good point to point out too, because that created a whole
Well, you
dynamic
pointed
between
out.
staff and
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
yeah, like
You're right. You're right about
there's
that.
this reverence sometimes where people are like they feel lesser than, or sometimes like in righteous indignance against it even, right? So
Yeah,
um
I cannot stress that point enough. There is a divide between the staff and the public, and I felt that big time at the Ventura mission, bro. That's what made me want to join staff, because I felt like a piece of shit
mm,
because of that divide.
yeah.
And
So
you,
yeah,
yeah,
they're real good at making you feel guilty too.
yeah.
Um
Anyway,
So
so
yeah,
and
moving
then you
on
also
into Melrose, we did the celebrity stuff. It was a big celebrity
and you
project. We went into
constructed it too, Marcus. Don't
oh
forget the
yeah,
fact that you built the
built the
fucking
whole
thing.
damn thing. Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. So like, get brainwashed, get trained up, uh get screwed. Go to Melrose with John Jones and build this damn thing. You and him for like 2-3 months, just like hacking up floors and cutting and building and whatever on a blueprint, and dealing with high levels of electricity, which I was not
Yeah.
comfortable with a big open exposed, like I forget, 2 gauge wires or 10 gauge wires, the ones
Can
that
I
come
say
in.
something on that real quick too, Marcus? You guys never follow building code, and I
Oh
believe it was
hell no.
Kendrick's, what's his name? Kendrick Moxon, that evil lawyer of Scientology. I might have this wrong, but I believe his daughter was electrocuted during a construction job that was
Oh
not
yeah.
not per some one of these
Hi
people
Kelly.
actually. Someone lost it. Oh, remember who was it that lost an eye? Not Nathan Rich. There's been many people, guys, that because they're so shady about not doing things by building code, they put their lives in danger, all right out in front of people in Los Angeles. It's incredible. That's why I'm surprised people
Yeah.
didn't bug you, Marcus, when you're sleeping out on the second floor of Melrose going, who are these
Well, no, I
fucking
mean,
people?
dude, some people would stop and ask, "What are y'all doing?" That.
And what would you say? What was your PR line? No, lovely.
Excuse me.
Jesus Christ, man.
Sorry, I took a shot.
There's a mute button, man.
No, I don't. Yeah, there is a mute button. You're
I'm just
right.
kidding.
So yeah, the like during when we were building, like some people are like, "What the hell?" Like, we'd be in there, like say Bill from downstairs. Bill was the owner of the Golden Apple comic book store. They have one in New York and one in LA. And the mission was right upstairs from it. He absolutely hated that was the thing that was happening, and there's nothing he could do about it. He was going to buy it, but he couldn't afford it because Bill was one of those guys that just really loved comics. He really put almost all of his money that he made back into comics in New York and LA. and foster the community and do all these groups and stuff. And he was actually, at the time, he come off as a complete asshole. But he would say things
Understandably so.
and try to talk to me about things that I was not hearing. You know.
What do you mean, like trying to snap you out of the cult, or about the building
Yeah,
code, or what?
sure. Yeah, both. Like he would he I believe he filed some complaints against
Oh,
the builder, to the building inspections.
did he know you guys were Scientology, Marcus?
Yeah,
How did he find that out?
I have no idea.
Interesting.
But I guess word gets around in Hollywood. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So because he had a lot of celebrities that go into the Golden Apple comic book store. That's why Melrose was
I
placed right
see.
there
I
on top of
see.
the comic book store.
Of
Michael
course, they
Jackson would go there and bring kids to get comics. Like
tell me you didn't try to
Michael
sell Michael
Jordan.
Jackson a Dynetics
Fucking
book.
no, but I was there. Me and Travis were there one time. I think Travis was there, but you have to ask him. Memory.
He'll be coming on at
Michael
some point.
Jackson was not only did we see Michael like from the top on the balcony, we saw Michael Jackson kind of go into his vehicle.
Really?
And yeah, and then but later we ended up selling paintings in Vegas for a Scientology shyster business
I
scam
know what you're
deal.
talking about. There's
Selling,
many many Scientologists that were in the painting scam business.
yeah, scam shit. So
Mhm.
and then we went to Santa. We weren't selling in Vegas, and they're like, "Well, go to Santa Barbara at the
Right.
Walmart." And we go to Santa Barbara, and this is during his trial. Every day we'd see his cavalcade come through
Wow.
every
And
day.
also Marcus, he was, had ties to Lisa Marie. Was he married to her at this time? And he hated Scientology,
No,
as far
they
as I
were. I
understand.
believe they were divorced by that time.
Okay. I don't think Michael would have wanted been anywhere near a Scientology place.
Well, I mean, it would have been the worst of the worst for Michael because he already had a really adverse childhood.
I know, dude.
So it's
His
kind of like
pops used to beat the shit out of him. He had talk about stage parents of the worst kind.
and really bad sexual stuff, like his brothers
Yeah,
having
he was
sex in the bedroom.
Yeah, they
And
were abused. That's typical of a
yeah,
lot of kids in Hollywood, man. They kind of look for the trauma-based mind control people because they're easy to pimp for Hollywood, basically.
right. Yep. So and
Sorry.
yeah. Uh, so after all of that mess, which we cover in some other stuff about the Rachel conversation and like
We
all of the
covered all
celebrities,
that.
yeah, the celebrities and all that, um, and then I had uh, ended up hanging myself
Sorry to
in
make you say
mission.
that again. You don't have to go into great detail.
No, I went into great detail the last time.
Yeah.
So after that, I was treated like an ethics particle, which in Scientology's means you are lower than filth. Like you're the scum of the earth. In fact, like you are treated as if you are not even a human being in the most basic sense, and you're just like that the viewpoint that Hubbard talks about with degraded beings is such that they are uh, similar as similar as lost souls or people in other, like say Christian Judeo-Christian religions who say you are
Going to
possessed by Satan,
Yeah.
or you are running with the devil,
Yeah.
or it's the same. It's the
Great
same.
point.
But in
Great point.
Scientology, it's just you're a DB, and there's no like heaven, hell shit attached to it. There's nothing about possession or demons necessarily, unless
Unless you get up to the OT levels,
unless
and
they
then you
implant you.
well, I
Unless they
can tell you, Marcus, my parents thought that it was the BTs that I didn't handle as to
right,
why I left Scientology, and I need to get back onto course. For listeners, BTs are body thetans, and when you get to the confidential levels, OT3 and above, you're introduced to the fact that it's not your reactive mind that you have to deal with. It's the reactive mind or subconscious mind that you have to deal with all these alien beings. So you can they definitely have an exorcism part, but that's only reserved for 5% of the Scientologists that actually get up there. Please
yeah.
continue, sir.
So from there, I went through what's considered in Scientology the standard routing out procedures called the routing form.
Mm-hmm.
and I covered that in some of the previous videos, which was the last one, I believe, was where that was covered after I hung myself. So I went through this whole rigorous, like, almost 8-month deal of doing auditing.
8 months? That's where I'd like
That
to
can't
pick it
be
up from.
right. Yeah, that can't be right, because it just felt like it's in my mind. It seems
I
like 8
understand.
months, but it could have been. It was probably more like 2.5,
That's still a
because it was
long,
so
long
intense.
time.
Like, if I wasn't at work, I was in a session with Iris. Work session, work
Right.
session.
That's how they do it.
Barely slept at all. Didn't
Did
eat
that
nothing.
make you non-sessionable where they gave a crap about that? And were you
Oh
given
no,
your
it
8 hour
wasn't even a.
sleep? And how
It
did they
wasn't
handle
even
that?
a. No, see, that's the thing. It wasn't even about being sessionable at that point. I tried to
Right.
hang myself in the
Right.
mission. Think like Kathy thinks.
Yeah, I'm feeling you as
Okay,
you're talking,
she's a
bro.
cougar, dude.
Yep.
She's like, okay, he
Not in the sexual sense, by the way, guys. I
no,
never found her attractive.
no.
Okay,
I
be
mean,
careful.
like the bad cats in the forest that will
Yeah,
eat your
okay.
ass up.
She's
That
not a
will.
MILF. She's not
She'll
a cougar.
maul
A
you.
cougar. She's a cougar. Yeah.
She'll maul the shit out of
Damn right.
anybody.
She's fucking
So
evil, bro.
she, is like, okay, kill yourself in the mission. uh just like when she said before in the executive meeting, oh, just get this on him, or get that on, get the child porn, that gets everybody.
Yep. Yep.
And that's what fucking happened. So um from there, I played in a couple of bands. I continued to work, but I got my honorable discharge,
Can you
right?
go over that, please, Marcus? Because this is a really
Yeah,
important point. I
the
want you
routing
to
form.
just to listeners, from my understanding as a Scientologist, what I would have said is you're definitely going to be declared an SP. That's a
Mhm.
suppressive person. You're a liability to the organization. Get the fuck out of here. If they don't want to have anything to do with you when you just tried to commit suicide, can you explain why you think you were given an honorable discharge and how that might be unusual? Wouldn't they normally just declare you an SP, Marcus, or do they want to keep you in good standing so you wouldn't sue them, or what was going on there? Why did you
Well,
get that?
that Kathy and Tom had always, since I had met them, because I met them when I was playing the guitar. I think it was Tom first. I was in their mission playing guitar, and Tom sat down and was just like completely blown away, because I was studying with Reggie Wooten at the time. So I was doing all these advanced techniques that he had never seen. A lot of people hadn't seen that stuff if you hadn't followed the Wooten family up in Tennessee. But they're, it's sort of like Appalachian, uh, an African style guitar. It's very weird, very percussive, and it's very Latin. But at the same time, you can play it like a piano. You can even play classical music with both hands on the guitar. And I was doing stuff like that back then because I was practicing my ass off all the time. And so he was completely like, there was some kind of thing with Tom, I think, where Kathy didn't want to. Maybe Kathy didn't want to. I'm just speculating at this point, but maybe Kathy did not want to uh, be as hard on me as she could have. And I don't know how much harder you could be, considering what the story is. But
Do you think she wanted to not declare you? Why did she not just declare you an SP? What did you have on her that might have made her want to make things amicable somewhat with you? Why in the hell
well,
weren't you just booted out of Scientology under these circumstances? Do
I
you think?
mean, in certain situations, it's possible that there were certain companies that were under investigation. For example, like some of the businesses that we're talking about, where they deliver papers, or this paper delivery and phone book deliveries were like another good, like, hide the money business for the missions. And ever since day one, in my view, from what I know of Tom and Kathy, especially Kathy, um, and how they went through Flag back in the late 70s and 80s, and into this whole Flag special briefing course thing, that that was all just to get a license to use this mission network to print money by taking advantage of people and just like finding the most unscrupulous people and using this tech to get people in the community. I think of it as like resource mining in like a video game or something. Like they go in, they're pretty harmless of a group, honestly, for the most part, but they are incredibly harmful to potentially society. It's one of those things that's sort of like Nazis. Like if this thing, like if you can, boil a frog, like that analogy, uh, you can boil a frog in any kind of water. It's just like what are we what we're thinking and what we're
Hot
believing.
water, not bong water. Get your head out of the clouds. Boiling a frog in hot water. No, I agree with you, dude. It is like a
I,
Nazi cult. If it
I
would have got some more power, if it would have spread a little bit more, it'd be a serious detriment to society.
I think it was more like hush money, man. It was like, or
Okay,
hush up, like we'll
because you
give
got
you.
$500 too, right?
I
I
got
mean, that's
500 bucks.
nothing, but
Oh, that was
she clearly, Marcus, what you said, she's a cougar, she's evil. I know her. I mean, I couldn't even. She had what they call in Scientology ethics presence, which means they terrify you just by their mere presence. I think that you had something on her, or some reason she didn't want to make an enemy out of you.
I don't know why that ever was, and even to
Yeah, and you
this
probably
day,
never will.
like even after she knew I was well out, and after I made
Mhm.
videos, like I could probably pull up
After you
emails.
made video, did she want?
Yeah,
See if you can. Did she want to? She didn't want to get you back on staff.
let me see.
You were not going to be allowed to be a real Scientologist again, were you? That'd be
Oh,
interesting.
she wanted me to go help run the current
What?
uh Narconon that they're running and river whatever retreat, whatever the hell
After
it's
you had
called.
tried to commit suicide,
Oh
that's
yeah,
completely against
all the
policy,
way
by
up
the
to
way.
2011, she was trying to get me to do that.
Wow. By
Uh,
the way, Marcus, is Kathy still alive?
yeah, as far as
She
I
works at
know.
Narconon, right? She's
Oh, here
works
we
at
go.
not Arrowhead, but somewhere, right?
Okay, so the last email I have from her.
If you send it over, I'll throw it up. I just want to make sure that is it okay? Do you think that we throw up her email? I
Well,
mean,
I'm looking right now because
okay.
there's multiple emails, and no, it's not okay to throw up just anything.
Yeah,
I don't want to do that.
I'll
At
look
this
at it first
time.
before putting it up when you send it
Yeah,
over.
right. But anyways, I think it was scare the shit out of me to the point to where she's like, "Look, you got honorable discharge." Uh and just maybe to keep tabs on me, maybe to keep,
Mhm.
to sort of
And Marcus, like the Hotel California, you check out anytime you like, but you never leave, and they always send you mail. And even Travis got mail
yeah,
last week. So
last
I
week.
think they always freaking. I think he's
I
going to
wrote,
save that for the
not
interview
even
too, dude.
oh man, not
Can you
even
believe
just a
that? It
regular
said
mail.
fucking staff, brother. It said
Yeah,
staff
join
too.
staff.
I swear they're gaslighting. They're trolling us, dude. Because I up to
Probably
2 years of me doing this channel, they actually increased the mail. They finally stopped sending it, but I think they're doing it to
2013 is the last email I have.
2013.
So I
And
was
she wants you to
actually
join staff after being a liability to the organization.
in
Absolutely amazing. That's how
2013.
few people they have to pull from, dude.
Oh, this is
You know?
interesting. Wow. Yeah, some of this I wouldn't publish, but it's
If
private.
they're
Um, it just has to do with me detoxing from certain meds, you know. Um,
So after you go through the 2.5 months, give or take, of going through the sec check, we got the dirty porn on you and everything. You have an honorable discharge.
yeah,
Are you then moonlighting for a bit, or do you throw everything
yeah.
into the car and
It.
take the fuck
I
off?
can't remember how long it took, but yeah, I ended up just saying bye to everybody, and then I left, and then uh,
And we talked about that
packed
last time
packed
too.
my van, and then yeah. So I moved. I drove 2.5 days. I made the drive, and it was a 1 12-hour day, or no, one 13-hour day and one 17-hour day. I made it in 30 hours from my big ass Dodge Ram
Nice.
V12
Did it
van.
still run? Did you take a hit on that
I
because you weren't
took
able
a
to keep
hit
up?
going up that mountain. I can't remember what mountain it is, but you have multiple pit stops for water. I can't remember where that's at. Maybe someone in the chat knows that lives in Nevada. But
By the
I
way,
said it
Kelly,
right.
I do remember the video that you did. Is that the one you're referring to, where you got that phone call? Was that gal asking you to join staff, or are you talking about another phone call or mail that you got in? Isn't that crazy?
It is
And
crazy. That makes me think outflow equals inflow. It's, to
that's
me,
what it is.
it's like
Exactly.
so
There you go.
stupid.
Even if you're
Like,
dead, they will still, they have this idea, guys, where it doesn't matter anything else. It's a numbers game. So if you never, even if a person dies, you keep them on file. People that leave the cult, you find them and track them down, not
yeah,
necessarily because they're trying to gaslight you or be evil, but it's simply policy that you never let somebody quote unquote die. They're always, once they're in Scientology, they're always in Scientology. And again, like the Hotel California, you can literally never leave a court. It's like an abusive relationship, which I talked about with HG. According to a narcissist, it's a narcissistic cult run by a narcissist, basically. So according to them, you're always their property. So even though you leave and you get on with your life, and anybody in an abusive relationship or has had an abusive spouse will know this, they can track you down 10 years later, just when you think you got rid of them, because in their mind, you always are owned by them. And they have policies, narcissistic, sociopathic policies, to make sure that they always find you. Again, not necessarily to terrify you, but because outflow equals inflow. Oh my
yeah.
God, brother.
Outflow
It's
equals
so
inflow.
crazy.
Even if, like, say those exchanges between Kathy and I, like, she's like, "This is a dB particle, right?" Which is why you're saying this is
That's a
your
good
whole
idea,
point.
Goldie.
You're saying, why the hell would she want you a dB
Yeah.
particle? Like,
Yeah.
So,
Low
but
on numbers too, maybe, too, Marcus, right?
what do you
Every
mean low on numbers?
Well, you're always their product. You're
Mhm.
always going to be somebody that can be used. And also,
Oh, right.
Scientologists have so few people, they
Yeah.
probably want to also keep
Yeah.
on tabs, including the dead
Absolutely. And
people. Yeah.
they're really scratching hard if they're sending Travis
I know.
mail, but they haven't sent me any.
Really?
No, because
Don't say
here's
that. You're gonna get some now, dude.
no, they haven't sent me any, and I don't care. I'll use it as campfire shit.
Nice.
The kindling. Uh I was I never got, that's the weird thing. I got mail addressed to me from multiple different names, like different names but same address. Lots of that. My parents, my stepdad and my mother would get mail addressed to them. Uh, and my stepdad liked to gone just ape shit crazy.
Dude, they
Like,
would send it to your fucking stepdad?
oh yeah, yeah.
Wow. He must have freaking hated that, dude.
Oh yeah, he would call flag. He would call flag and fucking just go nuts and cuss these people out and tell them, "Stop sending me your fucking shit. Stop sending me your goddamn
Oh,
shit."
so many people have been through that, man. So many people have been through just that. And Goldie has a good suggestion on that. I mean, yeah, if you get it, just send a return envelope with the participate in the aftermath card. That'll probably get them to
Bingo.
stop sending you shit.
Bingo.
Another one is start telling them the OT levels over the
Bam,
phone.
Goldie. Give her a gold medal for that
Yeah,
one.
she's on it in the chat. She's got link. She put up the freaking link to
Trophy.
the technical
Trophy.
dictionary from L. Ron Hubbard, which is a great find, by the way, Goldie. Yeah, if you guys watch the live chat back after this, she provides links to all sorts of little treasures. So check out the live chat replay when it publishes, and follow the links that she posts. She always posts really good shit. Okay, so we got you up to. That's just amazing, Marcus. I didn't know any of this, man. I didn't know that they were keeping you on good roads, good weather, so to speak, let alone asking you to come back to Narconon after you
Well,
became a
am I
liability.
not
That's so
am I not that
desperate.
likable? I mean, I'm a likable
It's just
guy.
not policy. I just, it's unusual. But then
No, I'm
again,
useful. Here's the thing, I'm useful to people, and I was very used to
especially to
being
them.
used even before Scientology. I've been very used to being used, and I am useful. Um, but
Yep. And that's a liability in Scientology. Whatever your skill is, don't let them know about it because That's what they'll use to bring you
I
in.
mean, the thought of me almost ending up, I had a choice. I had either a choice to go to gold or I had a choice to go home.
Wait. What
I
do
was
you mean?
offered an audio production job at gold.
After you committed suicide and
Yes.
after you got the honorable discharge, they can
Yes.
still put you on staff at fucking gold, no less?
Right.
No shit. This is way off policy. That's why I'm surprised to hear all this.
Hey man, you're preaching to the choir.
Interesting.
I would always tell them this is not policy.
Did you ever tell them that when they tried to
Oh,
get you to go to gold and shit?
no, because I was seriously considering it for a brief moment, and then
Really? Wow.
I dated this little.
How though?
Well, how? What do you mean?
You were actually considering, after everything you had just been through, to put yourself through that again up at gold, where it would have been 10 times.
I thought at the time, Doug, that gold would
Yeah,
have been an actual
right.
mecca of tech,
Totally,
where they
bro.
applied the technology correctly.
I totally understand.
So, that's me.
And we're back
My
to the
bad.
point also of how long it takes to get this out of your system to even
Right.
find out what the fuck you're dealing
6
with.
years,
This is
man.
why people can go back in and join staff again. Thank God you didn't go
Yeah.
to gold, Marcus. Thank God, dude.
That's what I think. That's why. Well, the gravity of it still hasn't hit me really, because that one incident at Melrose. But
Mhm.
I do find a lot of like kindred feelings with like Mark Headley, just from his story.
Taking
Escaping.
off on the motorcycle and
Yeah.
having to get out of there in like a literally
Mhm.
cloak and dagger way. What do you relate specifically to about with that?
Well, I kind of just I got my shit, a little bit at a time, but in enough time to where I could just, bounce out. I called my mom and she she wired me like some gas money.
And you had the 500, right? Or
And
was
I
that
had
already spent?
no, I still had I think I still had the 500.
Can I ask you real quick, Marcus? As soon as you got that 500 and you get the honorable discharge, you must have been starving. Your quote unquote rudes must have been unbelievably out. How are you feeling? Did you go get a
I
huge meal? And
drove,
what were you thinking?
no, I drove 30 hours almost straight, you know.
Wow.
I stopped once in El Paso at a Roach Motel and
Did you eat a lot of food? Did you get a lot of rest during that? Or
no,
was your mind spinning?
I didn't eat or really rest, period, till I got home. And my vision was literally spinning when I got back to my mom and Ira's house where I was staying at that time as an interim. I stayed there a couple months till I could get a place. And I was working at a bookstore when Hurricane Katrina happened. And then we got hit with Hurricane Rita. And so as soon as I got back
I
from,
love how they name these hurricanes, by the way. They almost sound like porn star names. Hurricane Rita.
they do rock your world. I promise you that,
Oh, hell yeah.
and not
Nice,
in the way
Marcus.
that you like.
Nice.
But
And by the way, L. Ron Hubbard, I mean, you had the tech, sir, to get here under any circumstances. Inexcusable that you're having
hip
spaceship
hip.
problems and getting here late. But sir, good to see you.
Yeah, what's up with that?
I've never seen someone take on the beingness of L. Ron Hubbard more than this guy. I've had his comments, his one-liners have me in stitches
Spaceship
all the time, dude.
problems. And your stats are down. You need to hammer down on your juniors and produce because you need more jet fuel, man.
That's why he hammers down on us all the time, dude. And he's offering 50% off the free personality test too. I mean, the guy's desperate now.
Damn,
There's all these
50%
people.
off of free? Fuck.
Not bad, huh?
You can't do better than that.
That means they would pay you, right, Elron?
That's right. Yeah. Fuck, I'm down.
Hell yeah.
So yeah, the getting a job kind of got interrupted by this hurricane.
Wait, Marcus. Where are we at in the story?
We're all the way back when I made it I drove straight through Nevada, New Mexico, Arizona, or Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, all the way to Louisiana. Texas is big. It took me 17 hours. I drove that all in one day. And then I go back home. I'm crashing in my old room. And I get a job at a bookstore, Joe Muggs, and as a barista.
right away though, there's no decompression. There's no going home with your mom, telling her,
I had to
crying on
get
her
a
shoulder,
job.
telling her what happened. There's no.
No, I mean, no, I
Well,
wasn't speaking of any of this stuff. Like they didn't
I, gu-
even know till years later, really.
I
I
guess
didn't
what
come
I'm
home and tell
asking
my
is,
mom I tried to kill myself. I didn't
okay.
come home and tell her that.
I
Travis
guess
didn't know for a while either, So
I guess what I'm asking, brother, is what was your headspace during that drive and when you got home? Did you have any time to think about what happened to you or to process
no,
it,
it was
or were
just
you
go,
just
go,
thinking, "Oh,
go,
that was
go,
just a
go. It was
wow"?
just
So
go, go,
you're still
go,
on staff
go,
time,
go, go,
still on
go.
staff time.
Yeah, baby. Yeah, that's like, I mean, and for years I was like that.
Yeah, I
For
understand.
years, when we came back from the hurricane, I was like, boom, 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 telling people what to do. Particles, like these are particles, people. Yeah, okay, I understand. I'll grant you beingness. Okay, whatever. Like, let's work out good roads, good weather with you, and let's get this tree cut down. We got to get this done. Boom, boom, boom. Let's get into the music again. Let's start playing with bands. I get together with my buddy Skeeter. We start
That's how he dealt with it.
gigging.
My blues. Just this is what a lot of people do until they figure out the con and the decompression really can start to hit him. He didn't know that there was. Did you basically? I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you didn't know there was anything wrong with the tech, and were you thinking it was your fault at this point,
Yeah, sure.
mostly, especially
Sure.
with all the
I was
auditing and
there's a term that is I don't know if it's in the tech dictionary, but spun in.
yeah,
And if you but I think that that's a apt description, but where you can spin someone in so hard on
yeah,
themselves with some conceptual reality that is made up. And like you see it with schizos all the time. This is like
yeah,
induced schizophrenic or
exactly.
induced schizoaffective behaviors or induced anxious behavior, induced depression, and all kind of induction can happen emotionally. I really need to finish that book, how emotions are made. It's just so daunting. But
By
some
the way,
of
can
the
I plug something real quick, Marcus? Because that's going
sure,
to be part of our series. We are going to break down some of the ex-Scientology books. I've got all of them. Barefaced Messiah,
yeah,
John Atack's A Piece of Blue Sky. I think it'd
I've
be
read
really
that one.
interesting to do one episode on
Jesse
either all.
Prince.
Yeah, Jesse Prince's book is amazing. So we'll do an
Yeah.
episode or maybe several where we'll actually break down some of these
Yeah, we
books.
could go through and
The
talk about some
solutions
of their
part,
experiences. That's helpful because those guys,
massively.
Jesse Prince, I mean,
Jesse's a
it was
badass.
bad, bad
Uh,
mofo.
One of the coolest guys in
And
Scientology that I never knew.
and
Yeah.
and, and the best here's the thing about being the bad guys in Scientology is that most of the time those are really probably the most the susceptible because of their goodness.
Yeah. He's a perfect example of that, man.
And I would even say that other prominent Scientologists like that are like that too. Like their inherent goodness made them susceptible to this, and
And then on the flip side of that, you have people like Grant Cardone and stuff, which are
who flip it,
sociopaths.
yeah,
So
who
there's
invert it,
two. There
yeah,
really is two kinds: really, really caring people and
yeah,
really psychopathic people, and
yeah,
they
and they
both
exist in the
benefit.
same
I
space.
know.
It's so strange because
Looking back, bro, I can remember who those people were, especially at the mission. I can tell you
right,
who the
right,
empaths were and who the
right,
psychopaths were,
right, right,
and they all
totally.
coexisted. And it's a cult that's perfect for all
I
of those.
think I think I did both, honestly. Like being in FSM is not something that it's like it's almost like spy work or PI shit. It's very nosy. It's very
Marcus, you're being hit on
invasive.
in the chat real quick. You look good.
Non
I'm just
sequitur.
kidding, Lacey. But yeah,
She's
he does
using.
look good, right? The blue shirt, Snoopy and shit. He's got his hair pulled back. Looks very
Oh yeah.
refreshed. Yeah.
Well, you can give credit to. She's giving credit to the right person. My lady loves me. Yeah, she
Nice,
does very
dude. What
much.
she did your hair this morning and did she brush your teeth?
Oh, she's the reason that I can even do any of
I
that.
know. We'll tell how she came into your life when we get to the end, maybe, because
Oh
she is
yeah,
actually
yeah. Because
key to
later,
helping your
whenever
ass
I
out.
started talking out, like I did the interview with Aaron, that's how
Hmm.
we met. So yeah, the hurricane, and then music. I focused on music, and I put the band through hell as sort of like a senior. They even asked me to
I
be a
bet.
manager. They asked me because of my just authoritative presence
Yeah,
in the
sure.
band. They're like,
That's why
"Hey,
Scientologists can be good in the quote unquote real world. Yeah.
right, right." So
And they, Marcus, did they know you were Scientologists and or were they Scientologists?
they knew, yeah, I openly would tell people I'm a Scientologist.
How
Uh,
would band members that you worked with react to that?
Some of them would laugh, some of them would just be like, "Are you serious?" And then, some of them would just be like, "Oh, that's cool."
So
I mean,
nobody's
it was a big band. There had 7-piece and sometimes up to
okay, but
13
no, there
pieces.
wasn't one person that got under your skin and tried to talk some sense into you or anything.
No, no, not
Okay.
even my best friend Skeeter, because he didn't really know much about it. I mean, this was 2000. Yeah, they had the hack and the big thing with Anonymous, but in the
Mhm.
leak with Tom Cruise from the 2004 event, but there hadn't been any like major like exposing coverage. Uh, so it was 2006, 2007. Um, and then in 2008, there was another big thing, and it got a whole bunch of press again. The anonymous hack, OT8 materials, OT3
Right,
materials,
right.
and
It's a big deal when those
it
came out.
spread. It spread like through a bunch of the smaller forums that became larger communities that were sharing the information more and all this
Is
stuff.
that when you kind of so you're just basically living a staff life of high pressure, basically, not decompressing, taking all that and putting it into being a manager in a band. At what point, dude, were you being an indie Scientologist? Were you practicing it all? Were you on lines? Were you doing any
I
extension course? Did you
did.
do any Scientology between the time that you
I did one extension course.
which one was it, by the way?
I did my DSA order up until halfway, which
What's the DSA for people, please?
the director of special affairs from Celebrity Center gave me my program, and I got halfway through it, and I probably stopped sometime in the around when I got a job as a radio broadcast producer at KAOK 1400 in Lake Charles, Louisiana.
Shout out.
Yeah, that was a good crew. Todd Elliott, TC Elliott. He's an author here in New Orleans. He's also still a radio personality here in New Orleans. And so I kind of stopped then. And he was one of the guys that actually started to help me.
Really? What
Uh,
did he say?
Not much, but that was key for
I
me.
see.
You know, he didn't, because when I said I was a Scientologist, I worked with him. He was the host of the show that I worked the board for, and we would have guests, and I would moderate the conversation as a political talk show, and but it was all live broadcast, 7-second delay, and that's all you got, and so like very on the spot, like if you have technical problems, it's bad. Like I was telling you before, in the green room, like sportscasters, if they got their line, they're like, "Oh, is my line good? Or you make sure my line's good, because I don't want to get cut off in the middle of a broadcast."
We had problems with the sound beforehand, and I told Marcus it has to be on your end because everything's working over here, and he got a little huffy and puffy with me about
I
being.
did
I
not
know
huff and
sound,
puff.
bitch. No, you were cool,
I
but
did not say bitch. I
but
said
you no.
I'm an audio
Now
professional.
you're changing my words. No, yeah, that's what you said. I'm an audio professional. It's on your end, and I backflashed him on that, and I'm like, no, dude, it's yours. And in
Backflash.
fact, it was on my end.
But that's okay. We fixed it. That's all
We
that
did.
matters.
We
See, that's
did.
the thing with live broadcasting. It's like you got to work together. You can't, be like, "Oh, it's not." No, no, whatever.
Exactly.
Problem. And so, um, I stopped that program. So I continued to do Scientology, and I learned a lot more than I did while I was ever in studying it on my own time, because I had time to do it. Because on staff, you don't have time to do
That's
much.
right.
You know, even they're like, you got to go on course, but all that is a distraction and to keep your mind like just
Yeah, that's right.
so
That's right, dude.
because you're working and you can't sleep and you're trying to get product, and then they're like, learn some LRH. No, it's just brainwashing.
Exactly. I would often see the Sea Org members and staff members at CC just fall asleep on course. They were not there to be trained like the rest of us, where it's kind of more important for the public. It's just to keep you in the spell and the hypnotic trance and to keep the mind control going. Exactly,
Yeah,
dude. Just
right. Yeah, you keep that. Where's the cue, man? Come on with it. Come on with it. It's a backflash. That would have been a
Oh,
perfect time. That would have been a
I
perfect
know.
cue.
If you're
All
just
right.
joining us, friends, welcome to Backflash Friday. This is the transition that Marcus made. That's absolutely dope.
Yeah.
So
So
but what was there any one like kind of how much, first of all, how much Scientology were you doing? You said you did one course, but were you still kind of missing the tech? Did you feel like they had their eternity over your head? How
No, I was
much were you
starting
missing
to.
it?
I wasn't missing it at all.
That's the
I
wrong
missed the
word.
people. I
How
missed
much
the.
did you miss your eternity, I guess, or whatever you thought that they had to offer you? Did you
That's
feel
what
you
I
didn't
was working out with.
right?
That's what I was trying to work out, because I had to figure out, like, am I going to go back in and go up the bridge or not? And is that going to make my eternity hell? And I read the books, I listened to the lectures, I did my analyses of them. I sent those to Dominic. I sent and he gave them to Kathy, and Kathy gave them to C. They do it like that. It's so weird. But so director CCN, or maybe they never gets there. Who knows? But the
Right. Vias. Everything has vias
via
that they have to be followed. It has to go
right
to this person, that has
VIA.
to go to this person. It's amazing that anything at all gets done, Marcus, with their bureaucratic red tape is so over the top. Isn't it amazing that anything at all gets done?
Yeah, but some of these concepts, as unpopular as it may be to say, when if you leave, like, they do have their social, and they have implications for use that isn't harmful. You know,
What do
like,
you mean?
what I mean is, like, it's it's sort of like what I'm reading about in the Serendipity Mindset, this book that I got, where you creatively engage life uh in a way where you try to make your own luck. But luck is like, I have a friend who used to say, uh the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I feel like there's some truth to that, but I also feel like there's some other aspect that is the true luck, that just things happening for, like, no apparent reason. And
Yeah, I'll give you an example of that. There was no reason in hell why a book should have been randomly dropped off on my doorstep by somebody trying to get back at me for being in a cult. If
I
that
think every
one
one of
moment
us
didn't
has a story. I think every single one person in this chat would have something like that.
Not only
Um,
that, Marcus, I think that becomes more apparent the more you literally deprogram from the world. I think that life can be dots can connect in your life, but sometimes you can't see them and it seems random. When I look back at my life, there's so many things that happen that seem to be I don't know I don't know what to make of it, but there just seems to be a through line where there's a few things that didn't seem like they were accidents. And if these certain things didn't happen, that would have changed everything. Yet they did happen. But I'm really careful on not going back in a new age land with that kind of shit either, my friend, because that was kind of Scientology too, where the very reason that you're here in Scientology is because you were the top 10% of the people that were able enough to subconsciously draw yourself into Scientology. And that's what they do with the twin flame concept, where a narcissist, you feel like, oh my God, I just met him and everything was magical and all that. So you have to be careful between mystical manipulation, which they call it in mind control parlance,
right.
and then real serendipity. But yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. It definitely, at the end of the day, if you're not hurting nobody and you're happy, like, that's a good philosophy, I think. Um, the but, like, going about things in an overly, like, planned and manipulative way, like, in order to manipulate something into happening that maybe someone doesn't want to happen. Maybe you should ask them, maybe consider other people's opinions. um but is it there's consensus, like, I mean, quorum, whatever. um
Yeah, that's Robert J. Lifton. Thought Reform and the Psychology of Totalism is the book that he
yeah.
wrote based on the POWs. And that was the basis for Steve Hassan's book. And basically, the mind control slash cult um, science, understanding, psychology, whatever. That's, Robert J. Lifton. We owe him a lot for coming up with that.
Margaret Sanger is one that comes to
Yeah,
mind.
Margaret Sanger, by the way, some of these people were also MK Ultra doctors, like Louis Jolyon West and Margaret Sanger. So
Yeah.
even though they're on the dark side, so to speak, well, here's the thing: Harbor was on the dark side, and so was Jolly West. So when a lot of Scientologists got out, um, it's in one of my videos, the Summer of Psyops, where I took a thing from Jolly West. where the ex-Scientologists now think because they got out of Scientology that Jolly West, who we were told was the evil psychiatrist in Scientology, was now the good guy, even though he's even more evil than Hubbard. So it's like, this is another reason why it takes forever to get out of Scientology and why you have to go down rabbit holes. Otherwise, you'll find yourself being an ex-Scientologist back in the normie world and applauding evil fucks like Jolly West. So it's a whole mind fuck. This, Marcus, I wish I was never in this world to begin with, because in the real world, I'm not paranoid and I just live my life. But dealing with this and having just grown up in this weird environment, particularly with my parents and shit that were in it, it was just my life. It's such a conspiratorial, crazy world. And even the X community, like, there's all sorts of like dramas. It's just
the whole world is a damn conspiracy.
Well, at least the wider world is a little less, I can deal with that a lot more than it's just such a crazy world, because it was made by a madman and we all got caught in this mad person's delusion, and then taking it apart and coming out of it. I mean, it's just amazing. And it's just all done by a man I never met, and all done by words and books and phrases.
For me, it's crazy. It took me on a journey to my death, of my own doing. And then
not Jolly Roger, Lewis Jolly and West, Weird Debbie. You can see him on the series. You can look him up. He's one of the most infamous MK Ultra mind control doctors of the 50s. A very, very evil man.
Sounds like a clown name.
Yeah, I know. He looks like a clown too. These supervillains of the world, like the Lewis Jolly and West and Hubbards, they actually look like exaggerated versions of evil people, don't they? Hubbard with the lips and shit and the weird ass teeth and the way he talks, and Lewis Jolly West literally looks like Darth Vader, Anyways,
damn.
But so was there a particular point, Marcus, though, when you're indieing it, being an indie Scientology, so to speak, where the thing started to click, or you started to maybe question, holy shit, maybe I don't want to go up the bridge? Didn't you do a doubt condition eventually?
Oh, I did. Yeah.
But before you get to that, how did you even get to that point, though? What was going on before that?
All right. So, when you leave, that you still have I still had terminals, even though, well, I think.
And the words, bro. If you say a word, please just tell people.
I'll define it. Okay. Have I not been?
We used to have Angela in the chat, who was the word clearing IC in charge, and she would just break down the words, but I haven't seen her for a while. So in the meantime, we can't give people MUs. This is the part I hate about. I know. It's the part I hate about Scientology the most, Marcus, about explaining it, is that you can't do it without the words, and then you have to take forever to explain the stupid words. Yeah.
So, no, it doesn't take forever. A terminal is a person.
Okay, do it in 2 seconds. There you go. That was perfect. Pass. Would you like to write a success story?
Yes, I would. I would like to attest. So maybe part of the rational thought, or maybe Kathy's rational or whatever irrational idea to keep close and have, so that I had terminals, people to talk to. I was told that that I had a stalled case and that I was resistive case handling and I might need to go to flag. So like I'm 24, 25, 26, 27, and I'm thinking, how the fuck am I going to afford to go to flag? There's no way. And I got flag terminals calling me. I got SO terminals calling me from all over, Memphis, Nashville, New York org, CC still, people who still have my number, because I didn't change it. And then Baton Rouge, and then Lake Charles. They opened a mission where I lived in Lake Charles. They wanted me to be the purification rundown IC. And that failed miserably because the city was just not in it, not having it. And there was some investigators, maybe Marty Battles, that had something to do with that. But they ended up going into Rivers Retreat or whatever it's called now. The Kathy Steiner's new Narconon, and they ended up just Steiner's can't actually license the tech anymore. They lost. the rumor is, I don't know, but the rumor is that because of the near miss, I'm the near miss. So, because if something like that happens, that's really a big cleanup job, PR wise. And look at the Lisa McPherson
I was just
thing.
going to say, and not only that, there's been other ones too of people dive bombing off of property in
Karen
Florida.
Carrier, oh yeah,
Son,
and
her
stuff
son.
like that.
Yep.
Yeah. Even Quentin, all the way back to Quentin, he killed himself.
Victoria Britton, whose son died under very mysterious circumstances, isn't the way. It's a complete cover up. Scientology has plenty of those. She lost her, I hate to go into these stories, dude, because there's so many deaths, but Victoria had such a sweet son, and she has been fighting so hard to try to get some justice done. But when you're going up against an evil cult like Scientology, as we're witnessing perhaps with the Masterson case, I mean, it would be they have more power basically than the injustice system, so to speak. So whenever you try to sue Scientology or take them to court or whatever, they have a tendency to always come out and cover up murders and all sorts of shit.
Yeah,
Suicides.
They come hard with a whole bunch of like lawyers you could send to a damn Supreme Court, and that can take something all the way to Supreme Court if need be. Like, no bullshit. Like, they lawyer the hell up, and you can ask anybody in Hollywood about it. They know. So, yeah, like, since that was I wrote a KR. I wrote a lot of KRs. I don't know if they ever made it. That's a knowledge report, and that goes supposedly if you're at the big blue building in on L. Ron Hubbard Way, you write some shit there, and you say there's an out point, which means there's something wrong, and you describe the out point. And then you say it goes to RTC Commodore top dog. It goes all the way up to
Religious Technology Center.
Yeah,
which
I'm
is
sorry.
David Miscavige.
I missed
is the
that
head of
one.
that.
David goes all the way up to David Miscavige himself, but probably through the chain of whatever's. So, because if the problem can be handled at a lower level, then it should be, and that's one of the organizational things I happen to agree with. But it's just a matter of means how you're doing it, right? Jesus, the brutal methods that they use, but yeah,
even real quickly, even if the tax status goes Goldie, which yes, that definitely needs to be removed yesterday. There's plenty of countries where they don't have tax exempt status and they operate just fine, but it would reduce their money. Eventually, that money would fade because by losing that tax exempt status. But they have billions of dollars, and I'm not sure that would be for sure the arrow in their thing. You know what I mean?
And for sure,
because like I said, there's plenty of places where they operate and they still get away with the human trafficking where they don't have tax exempt status. This is another example of where they seem to be above the law. The law itself's a joke, in my opinion.
I mean, there were people trafficked into AO and PAC base all the time from Romania, Bulgaria, Latvia, Russia.
They're always taking kids from overseas that from their parents.
Can't speak any fucking English at all. They're just like, what? They don't even.
I have an opportunity to come to America, and you'll do this, that, and the other thing. Totally illegal, totally under the radar, and yet the governments never ever seem to step in.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Straight up human trafficking going on.
Yeah, exactly. The money will eventually dry up, but how long would it take for several $1 billion to dry up? It would still take a while. Plus, also, Goldie, another point about that
especially when it's not a lot of people. It's 30,000 people worldwide.
It's true, and my focus is on what do you do with those 30,000 people? So they have the right to believe whatever the hell they want to believe. They don't have the right to do the criminal actions that they inadvertently and sometimes unwittingly get up to. I didn't know I was committing criminal action shit when I was in Scientology. They don't have too many skeletons in my closet, but when you're under a hypnotic trance, you have a tendency to do things where you might not want to leave and speak out because they have shit on you. So what do we do with these poor people that are under the spell? The deprogramming is the real focus for me, because you can, take people's religions away from here until eternity. But what about setting them free by setting their minds free? And then you wouldn't have to worry about governments or anybody else stepping in. We could be proofed up against ever falling for these in the first place. And then also we'd have tools to get out of these. If there was, I love this fucking community. What a resource. Marcus, if I had this resource like it is today coming out, all the books and everything, all the material that people have put out, it would be so easy to deprogram. But that's the thing. If Scientology was taken, if their tax exempt status, Goldie, I remember I was like 14 or 15 maybe, and we had just I wasn't into Scientology, but it was in and around the family all the time. And I remember my dad and mom were really happy one day because they're like, son, we just got our tax exempt status as Scientologists. And I was like, yeah, great, mom and dad. But they were super excited. And then I put myself in their shoes where if they came along and took away their tax exempt status and I was in Scientology, I don't think it's going to cause a Waco or a Jim Jones type thing. Those people were actually murdered anyways. It wasn't really drinking the Kool-Aid, but that's another story for another time. I don't think it would cause that situation, but you're taking away, you would have a fight on your hands because I wasn't going to give up Scientology. I would have gone against the government and we would have just empowered ourselves even more to fight. Things would have gotten more intense if you take away people's religion, quote unquote, without deprogramming them. At least that's my perspective, Marcus. How would you react if you were in the cult and they came along and took away the taxes and status? You'd fight it, right? It's greatest good for the greatest number of dynamics, dude.
Yeah, under that set of operating principles, I'll call them, that would be the correct action under those set of principles. And I think that's the thing that probably coming home sort of refresh my memory that what are my principles in life. So yeah, that's your operating principles, which Scientology has its own set and other religions have their own set. People have their own personal set of operating principles. Some of them are good. Some of them are not so good. Some of them are good for others. Some of them are good for themselves. Some of them, there are all kinds of operating principles. One would hope that you would choose a set that is good and healthy, at least for you to live. And in many cases, not just with coercive control groups like cults, what people call cults, but also in business. And
on the global stage, dude, some would claim that education is brainwashing us to make a cog in a machine. If we can get this information out somehow and give people their minds back, the world would change in a way we cannot even begin to imagine, Marcus, because I've seen this myself just by deprogramming from Scientology and then the wider world.
Well, what are we doing right now? You're aware
Exactly.
of what the locus of control is, right? The locus of control.
It's with you, and I do what you say, right?
Shit.
We
in
know how a
Scientology,
relationship works.
In Scientology, that's the operational
If you were my
principle.
senior, that's exactly what it would have been. You know who my senior was in my life? My dad.
Your dad.
And my mom.
Of course.
My dad was my handler. He was always the one sent to handle me whenever I had a breakdown, particularly on the OT levels.
And your mom
and my mom was
an ethics officer.
Yeah. You just nailed it, dude. It's exactly right.
That's how it works. That's how Jim had it set up. This is what I'm saying. This is why I made a point earlier about
so good to talk to you, man. I'm so glad. Well, bro, I'm just really,
and we're going a little. We can go to a 5:30 if we want. We got another 15 minutes.
We can't be on a time schedule when we're in balls deep here, bro, because I'm enjoying this too much. I just wanted to say, brother, dude, you've given me so much intel about what happened and sorted so many question marks all these years later, bro, just by running in the same crowd and being a good friend, man. I really appreciate the knowledge and just the help. You've helped me out a lot, brother.
Man.
And also, there's not a lot of people from the Ventura mission and each org and each mission. We talk a lot about flag, the Sea Org members will cover gold. We know all about these things, but
high earners, though, it was small, but high
that's
earners.
Right. Well, Ventura was a pretty high earner too. They were one of the top missions on the
but
planet,
there wasn't many people. But that's
I know,
thing.
And so we don't get any stories about them, is what I'm saying. That's what I loved about you when I first saw you on Aaron's show years ago. I was like, oh my God, someone's finally talking about the terminals that I know, the Ventura mission. Someone said the word Steiner. That was the first time I'd ever heard it. So it just brought you and shit. You've just been bringing back all these memories because there's nobody else I know from that crew, and we had people reach out to us, as you know, from the previous interviews in that area. So we're getting some tone arm action. Yeah.
That tone arm action, you're gonna have to.
Do you want to define that, brother?
No, you're gonna.
God
You're gonna.
damn it! Really?
I'm a Dianetic auditor, not a
Okay,
Scientology
and
auditor.
we'll break down the auditing, by the way, guys, because I got up almost to the top.
And I was an auditor too, by
and
the
you
way.
did a lot of auditing. We'll
I
talk
did
about
do auditing, yeah.
some of the silly side actions called the LX list, the int rundown. We'll talk about the L rundowns. There's so many silly, funny things that you can do that are also on the side actions on the bridge. Tone arm action means, to put that in simple terms, TA is not tits and ass, it's tone arm action. And when you're getting tone arm action in Scientology, see, it's even hard to explain these, Marcus. That means basically that you're blowing off charge, and the more charge you blow up, the needle will drop. So you have to use the tone arm to bring the needle back on the dial. So the more charge you're getting off, the more it's dropping. I know this isn't going to make any sense to people. And therefore, the more you have to push up the tone arm to keep that needle on the dial, that will determine how much case gain you got for each session. Does that even make sense to you, Marcus?
No.
Because it's so hard to explain that shit. But anyways, it means we're getting good, positive things happening. There's a human translation. How was that, Kelly? Because Kelly said she likes to, she said that the e-meter she just calls a lie detector device. Exactly. So maybe rather than trying to explain these things, we can just go right to a human translation. Anyways, we're getting good TA there, brother. Continue.
Okay.
If you remember where we left off. Well, basically,
yes, I do. Okay, so
please.
let me
Sure.
say before I forget, because it was an important thing about your operating principles and what is okay and what's not. You know, if your operating principles, like how Jim and ultimately how I think the FSBC was set up, is this flag special executive briefing course.
Sorry, dude, we have to even do it if it's in the chat.
Thank you. No, it's great.
Yes, thank you, Beachcomber.
Shots. I'm out. I'll take a shot.
Young man, I saw that gravity bong hit you took before this show. I don't think you need to be taking any more shots. Lady Veritas has got you covered. She'll be taking all the shots for you.
Okay, so when you have those operational principles,
God damn it, Goldie, we're never going to get through this if you guys keep doing this.
I'm literally hanging onto this thought by a thread.
I'm sorry. Go. Okay. My bad. Go.
So whenever, God damn it.
No, you lost it.
No, I didn't. I'm holding on to
mute right now. It's all you, brother.
Okay. So when you have operational principles or principles, you can just simplify it and call it principles, but your own principles or your operating principles are harming others for your gain. And that's like, you have it all lined up that way. Every single operational principle is for, you know, whether it harms them or not, doesn't necessarily have to, you don't necessarily have to have empathy or not, but you can and still operate that way. That's how you induce this sort of psychotic behavior. And the FSEBC, whatever, this flag special briefing course that Tom and Kathy and Jim and them not only did, but worked on and had a hand in making.
That requires a whole other explanation. But yeah, it's a fascinating story how they actually literally had a hand in making that.
Yeah, for Scientology Missions International, and helped establish Scientology Missions International, which then when David Miscavige, he's like, you know, fuck SMI, I want the IAS because that money goes straight to me. The missions would pay in, and the missions would also have and they still do have the side businesses where they launder the money out and do whatever with, like invest, do, you know,
Alex,
property. I'm
sorry we started this. There's too much naughty behavior happening in the chat just by the tits and ass thing.
FN turned into a TA.
Alex says FN is turning into TXT&A.
That's a good one, Alex.
That's funny. He says it's funny. There's some clever people in here.
Yeah, that's good writing.
It is.
That's good writing. So
Alex, would you like to write a success story? Please email that to me.
So when your principles are lined up that way, that is, you know, it's not helping your fellow human being, right? And the level of meticulousness and focus that you can put, because you make everything so simple in black and white, like it becomes infinitesimally larger. So, you know, whenever you were asking about, well, what would you do? And you go to CC, it's like, well, it's strange. And yeah, it is very stalkerish, but like you start to pick up on all of these other, you get to really focus in when you've basically across the board said it's black and white, and this is my target and my goal, and this is how I'm going to do what I'm going to do. And the principles aren't, well, you don't have any, really. You have no principles. You're doing whatever to get the job done, which is where the make it go right shit really, like, you know, when they tell you that,
Good point.
it's that gut feeling
Yeah.
that you get, and the gut is your second brain.
That's
And
right.
every time you have cognitive dissonance, or every time I did not always have the gut feeling, but there were certain times when I did.
Mhm.
And I think there's something to that whole process of learning the way they teach this executive material that fucks with,
Yes.
for lack of a better term, fucks with the relationship between your principles and what a human would do to another human, and the maybe the second brain, you know,
Absolutely. Marcus, I'm telling you, brother, it's designed to shut that intuition and that second brain down from
to
the
shut it
second you
off.
do those
Yeah.
those
Mhm.
TRs.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's
Yeah.
another
So
point that people miss is that our critical thinking is being shut down with these training routines and
mhm.
the ethics conditions and we're made into Ron droids slowly but surely where bro, Marcus, there wasn't honestly a single second in my decades long career as a Scientologist that I had that second brain doubt. There was only one moment I can
Wow.
actually think of. And that was when I got up to grade 4 and I realized I didn't have the ability that I got from grade 0, the ability to communicate freely with anyone on any subject. And I had a split second where I was like, I didn't have these abilities didn't last, but I'll just keep going. That was the only time, bro, that I ever had that. And looking back, the reason I'm harping on that is because that's the part that people miss when they go, how could you believe in Xenu and all this shit by the time you get up there? Our critical thinking was shut down in 2 weeks of Scientology. You know, that's how powerful those TRs are. And some of the other crap that you do, let alone the freaking tone scale, right, bro? I
On
mean, they're
scale.
all designed to take that gut instinct away, you know?
I mean, I think that, yeah, the practice, or if you want to call it that, of doing all of those things, back and forth, and constantly like doing actions, and actions just means sort of like reading something or doing a drill, because there's like books with drills in them, doing a clay demo, going into
That's
session.
age regression you right there. The age regression techniques of playing with clay, reading the lines from Alice in Wonderland, bull baiting. It's all silly, silly stuff under the guise of communication, all
Well,
designed to
it's
shut.
actually not that silly, because it's used in therapy quite a bit sometimes, you know, with
Well, who's to say that therapists are right too? I'm just saying it depends on, bro. When you do those, I just not did a video, but re-uploaded something on the TRs, and then there's 3 more. I don't know, 3 or 4 more videos. I'm redoing them. I break down the TRs. I'm telling you, brother, they are absolutely designed not in a good way to put you in a suggestible state right at the beginning. And if another therapist wants to use something like that, I doubt that it's done under the conditions of a mind control cult like Scientology, where Hubbard laid this thing out. The next video I'm doing it on, when I finally get all the shit done, bro, I'm going to lay down the Crowley aspect behind Scientology because that's 95% of it. And then also L. Ron Hubbard hypnosis, how he literally planned out to keep people in this feedback loop. So it's not by accident. And he knew exactly what words and how to get people to report back, how to implant them and put trigger words in to absolutely make sure that you stay in this mind bubble. I don't think a psychotherapist, unless they're a psychopath, is doing anything close to what Scientology is doing to people. I just wanted to clarify that, brother.
what, clarify what?
It's all right. The audience was paying attention, even if you weren't. Whatever. You want me to repeat all
I'm
that?
saying,
You
no,
said
I
this.
was.
You said that psychology might use similar techniques, but I'm just saying it would not be done in a mind control environment. That's all.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It's right. Yeah.
I have to report to the reg,
But
and
it is
they
still
don't pull you out of
technically age
session. And
regression. It's still technically a lot, in some cases it's
sure,
age
but going back
regression.
to childhood is not necessarily the same age regression as playing with clay and reading lines from Alice in Wonderland,
Okay.
which has a specific purpose.
Yeah.
And like I said, who's to say that psychologists know everything either? It's like I told you, I went to see 3 psychologists, all free of charge because I was like living out of my fucking car. And I spent most of the sessions teaching them about the bite model and about mind control. And unless you get somebody that's a specialty in cults, they will take you
I
back
wonder
to childhood
if
and shit.
Damien is here.
Oh, right. Your therapist was Marcus's therapist was actually in the last chat.
Yeah.
And he happened to tune in right when he was talking about the worst part, dude. Sorry. Damien sounds like a dude, though. I'm sorry I get that mixed up.
She doesn't look like a dude.
Okay. If you're one step away from saying the other word that ties into that, so you might as well throw it up.
I'm doubtful of the temperament of your flamingo.
Oh, that's funny. That's a line from, why does that ring a bell? Where is that? Kelly, is that from Alice in Wonderland? Because that really rings a bell. It
sounds like Alice in Wonderland. It sure does. Wow. Deliver that in a new unit of time. Let's
give an example here, Marcus, of what we would do on the communication course. This is TR1, where you use Alice in Wonderland and some of the other TRs, but an example of why you're told you're doing this versus what's happening is what you're told is you're learning how to, this is why I thought it was helping as an actor, because you take a line from Alice in Wonderland, you make it your own in your thought, and then you deliver it directly to the other person. And you have to make it sound natural, but none of this shit is natural to begin with. So I would say, I would get the line, I'm doubtful of the temperament of your flamingo. Then I look right at Marcus with my other TRs in, by the way. So the previous ones are in where you can't move. I'm sitting there and staring at Marcus like a robot, and I'm going to try to deliver this naturally. But how do you deliver Alice in Wonderland? How do you deliver these lines naturally? You can't. So it's a mind fuck. So I would say, I'm doubtful of the... See, I can't even do these because how do you make this natural? I'm going to try.
Well, you do one, I'll do one.
Flunk. You just cut my comm. I'm doubtful. Because what I want to say to make this natural, Marcus, is I want to add the word Marcus before it. So I want to say it, Marcus, I'm doubtful of the temperament of my flamingo. But since I can't say that, watch how this is going to come out. I'm doubtful of the temperament of your flamingo. Would I have passed?
Do it flunk. Yeah, that's a
sure.
Flunk.
Okay, let me try it again. I'm doubtful of the temperament of your flamingo. I can't even get it out. I got stumbling.
Laughing.
I'm doubtful of the temperament of your flamingo.
Flunk, too much intention.
I'm doubtful of the temperament of your flamingo.
It was really good up until you got halfway. Flunk.
I'm doubtful of the temperament of your flamingo.
Pass.
Thank you. See how hard that is, guys? I don't even
All right,
think that was
I'll
natural.
do one.
Sure.
So
Kelly, you got another one for us, or
off with their heads? Can someone
there
type
you go.
Off with their heads?
Yeah, I'll type it. This is what we're actually looking at and doing in these ridiculous drills.
There we go.
Okay, so I'm the coach. Start. Flunk, you side. Start.
Off with their heads.
Flunk, that's close, but I didn't feel you matched the kind of ferocity and intention of what this line actually is. Maybe a little more intention / power.
Thank you.
I got that.
Off with their heads.
Flunk, I need more.
Off with their heads.
Flunk, Marcus, this is off with your heads. This is off with their heads. That's what it is.
Well, that's
my interpretation, but I need more power with this line to make it natural.
I got you. Okay. Off with their heads.
Marcus, pretend you're staring at an ashtray and commanding it and screaming at it. That's the kind of intention this line demands. It's got an exclamation point after it, for fuck's sake. And we're talking about someone's head going off.
Did they let y'all do it like that?
This is how we do it. Yeah. Not Marcus, let me clarify. Not that much. But what I would say is I'd say, you know how it works. Try it again. I'll show you what I'd say.
All right. Start.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm the coach and you're going to do it. So start.
Oh, off with their heads.
Flunk, not enough intention. Start.
Off with their heads.
Flunk, not enough intention. Start.
Off with their heads.
Pass.
Okay.
Yes. I don't think we say pass there, though. What the hell did we say? No, I say good, and then you go on to the next one. Good. Right. Just some acknowledgement. So there it is, guys. Now tell me that wouldn't spin your ass around doing that for 2 hours. And shit, you know?
Oh, 2 hours. Shit. Me and
hours and hours and hours. I did each of these drills. Yeah. And by the way, Marcus, I found out later through you, and just through figuring it out, that they charge me so much more money because my parents were rich and shit, when I was younger, to keep me in the auditing room and on the levels. It's super long. So it took me years to do the grades. When I found out later, people were going through the grades like in 3 months or something. So they were purposely trying to, and the
Yeah.
choruses and everything.
Yeah, because like someone like Mike Bennett or these are other people that were at the same mission, or Larry Krogh, somebody like that. Like Jim sizes up their finances pretty quickly, like Jim and Vicky. And so like, and if they're the type of person that seems like they could stick with Scientology as long as they're away from the staff, you know what I mean? Because like they don't want to get that deep into it, but they have the money, then they can it's essentially like it's paying tithes, but it's like on
All
steroids.
based on whatever your income is. I didn't
Yeah,
even know that.
based
I
on
thought it
your
was one
income.
for one, but if you got a lot of money, they will keep you on those levels and
Oh
everything
man, like
longer and longer
some
and longer.
people, like George Horton back in the day.
I remember him.
This was, I haven't heard from him in a long time, but
I wonder if he's out.
The I don't I don't know much about what's going on, but
we have had some people reaching out though, so we're learning data behind the scenes.
Yeah, I do remember that he had to refinance his house, and he had a bunch of kids, and they had to get in a smaller. They had to get a much smaller house, and it just was not good. It wasn't a good. It wasn't a good move on any way for his family.
Right. This is a
but
good point that Kelly brings up too, because I did a lot of these things that were similar in the actor studio where I went to, as well as with Bobby Lyons, my acting class with Scientology, even in the non-Scientology schools. Well, Kelly, there's a reason, because these techniques like the TRs and stuff like that, these were really popular like in the 40s and 50s. And then Lee Strasberg came out with how to access the subconscious and all these techniques that are very, very similar to Scientology, just like the Meisner technique. That's the one where you repeat a line back and forth, Marcus. And it's been a while since I've done this, so correct me if I'm wrong, Kelly, but isn't that where you just say a line to each other over and over, and then you let emotions and reactions happen naturally? Me and Mark Turry went over this, so I might have that wrong. But yeah, the acting techniques are very similar to actually Scientology, which is not an accident. And again, that's why I thought I was learning, how to communicate. But Marcus, it did feel weird. I did question sometimes whether or not this is going to make me an unnatural actor, because something seemed phony about it. And I was really concerned about, I don't want to cross over this line where it fucks the acting up. So I would kind of question that in my brain a little bit, but not enough where it actually got me out.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that also with a lot of other acting schools too,
And Kelly's right. Yeah, the Meisner is very similar to that, repeating lines over and over until something happens. So we say something, and by the way, bro, you end up getting angry, and this all sorts of things happen because they're happening naturally. A real acting school will try to teach you how to be natural in the moment, not act and fake shit.
Right.
Apostate Alex, I did it the other way around. TRs to me were just like drama school. I love that. Very interesting. Yeah, I could see that. And in fact, maybe it can make you want to become an actor, right, Alex? I mean, if you're fucking, it's such a fine line between some of the Scientology shit and maybe wanting to be an actor or something. Because you're like, shit, I just passed a TR course. I can totally act.
Some of the stuff the kids would do in their TRs were hilarious.
Oh, what would they? What was the anything?
I just remember them being funny. Like I never was in the room coach. Well, actually, maybe I was in there at times, like coaching them. But the kids at the mission would be talking about like their favorite cartoons and shit, or saying things about like so and so couldn't beat up so and so, like He-Man couldn't beat up Superman, or Spider-Man couldn't, because like they have their favorites, and they're like they know how to push the button on the dude. Like Batman's stupid, man. Batman's gay. Batman,
no, he's not. Flunk.
Yeah, exactly.
That's fucking funny. I could just see kids doing this shit. It sounds cute and fluffy, Marcus, and then you add in the fact that they're actually in Scientology, which makes it like
those
fucking
children, those poor children.
I know, dude. I didn't know what the fuck I was getting involved in. My dad was just having me do all this random shit, and they wouldn't even explain what the choruses were about.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what is the moment that I remember where we're at? Like, so we've taken it up to the point where you're basically just continuing on with your life, and then thinking that you're basically still a
Yeah, I
Scientologist
stopped.
because you want to go up. But where's the point where you freaking have doubts?
Um, so I started doing doubt um, when Dominic was trying to contact me and recruit me, and I was being actively recruited
Wow. Even though
for
you're got your
everything.
life and
Like I was actively recruited for the Lake Charles mission. Before that, Kathy was trying to do the Narconon, and she's like, "I need help. I'm gonna recruit you." And she's like, "Baton Rouge needs help. Recruit you. I'm trying to get Monica over here to recruit you, or recruit Monica." and and she ended up in. I'm gonna start calling her Lewinsky, so that people can stay a little dry. Um, yeah, she ended up going to Chicago, as last I heard. So they were trying to recruit me back into California, try to recruit me into the Sea Org. And I'm like, I'm out qualled. Like, you guys should know this shit.
you've done every drug known to man and their freaking mother. Why would they think that you could join the Sea Org?
I'm like, how
You
did you
couldn't
meet?
be any more outqual than you, bro. I mean,
I know.
if you look up in the tech dictionary outqual,
There's a
you'll literally
picture
see
of
a
me
picture of you.
out qual.
Dude, I love doing this with you, man, because it blows charge by using the silliness of these words alone. It was like another lifetime ago that's just fun to cackle about the absurdity of all this. Off with their heads.
Right. I mean, yeah,
God damn
totally
it, brother.
wacky shit.
Yep.
So the at a certain point, I was in 2007-ish. I was like, I was focusing solely on music and making a decent enough to afford an apartment. So not much else, and also was doing a lot of drinking. Though I was spending money drinking, but I had a couple resident bar gigs and an active community in Lake Charles in Southeast Texas and Lafayette, Louisiana, Baton Rouge, sometimes New Orleans, generally in that neck of the woods on the southern coast, third coast, they call it. And I stayed pretty active all the way up until I got married. And then whenever we got the news that she was pregnant, I planned on being a stay-at-home dad. And did my last gig in 2009. Or no, wait a minute. 2000. Stella was born in 2011. And in 2009, no. So it would have been, yeah, I did my last gig with my main band in 2009 that was gigging a lot. And then I started doing other types of gigs and other bands from 2009 to 2011. And then after Stella was born, did some gigging. And then it started to finally, then like life, having a child, being married, uh, that started to, like, what the hell would I do in Scientology that would be good for any of that? And
For your
so
child, you mean, Marcus? Were you
yeah,
thinking at this
for my
point,
child,
what if I
and
were to pass
or even my
Scientology on?
marriage,
Okay.
at the time, it's like, this is just nothing good came out of that. That's the conclusion I came to, but it was clashing with my my principles that I had installed, my operating principles that I had been using for years. So it was molting. You start molting, and you know figuring out what's this new skin gonna look like, feel like. Is it gonna protect me? Is it gonna be worse? Better? And so that's whenever I decided, okay, well, to try to speed the process up, I'm going to do a doubt. I did probably 8 doubts, and I wrote a lot of stuff, and I
Can you
read.
explain, Marcus, real quick, what the doubt condition is without getting into too much technicality so
The
that people understand what we're
Yeah,
applying?
simple version. There's like 15 steps, so it's not simple at all. But the simple version is that you go through and you in detail analyze one. If they oversimplify, it's either black or white, like I was saying before, with your operating principles. So you look at whatever it is you're in doubt about, and you say these are the good things. This is what. Are you going to?
I just wanted to show some slides of the conditions while you're talking.
Okay. There's more than 5 conditions. That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
So
Here's
the
the condition of doubt right here.
all right, yeah.
Now, Marcus, so I don't fuck this up since I'm on Google Chrome as opposed to Firefox, which I usually use. How do I pull this up for people to see without?
Right click it and open page, or it's on
Open
regraded
in.
Bing. Just hit visit.
Okay, that would have been much easier. See, I knew that was going to happen. Oh, I guess that's it. Is this Mike Render's
Yeah.
blog?
Yeah, that's
Okay, here we
my
go. Perfect. So while you're talking about the condition, I'll just show people this.
Yeah, so it's black and white, but it's multiple steps. So what you do is you look at the
Let me just read it here real quick, Marcus, because remember,
well, then just read it.
sure, just a little bit, then I'll pass it back to you. But what he's talking about is we do conditions, and that's the way we live our lives. And our state of existence is always in one of these conditions, according to Scientology. I don't believe this is true in real life at all, because it's
We
like
do not
again,
do
it's a
this.
sociopathic thing, and to actually apply. But the condition of doubt, which he's talking about, and I've done a million of these, and so is he. When we have a doubt about a group, about anything, this is what we apply. So when one cannot make up one's mind as to an individual, a group, organization, or project, a condition of doubt exists. And then, real briefly, you basically inform yourself honestly of the
Honestly.
actual intentions and activities of that group. Then you do that with the other, and then you evaluate the intentions and objectives of both groups, and then you decide to join or remain in or befriend the one which progresses towards the greatest good for the greatest number of dynamics. That's whatever the best thing to do is, and announce the fact publicly to both sides. And then when you do this, you often have to go attack the side that you were. Let's say you were at the bowling league or something, and that conflicted with your Scientology studies. So you were spending too much time doing that. So now you do everything you can to improve the conditions and statistics of the person, group, or project you have remained in or joined, Scientology. And then you basically deliver an effective blow to people that you were pretending to be a part of. Where the hell's that one, by the way, Marcus? Is that on here? Okay.
That's the next condition.
Is that danger? Okay. So basically, a long story short, once you decided to remain in Scientology and every other group's bad, you then actually have to go attack the other group to be back in with Scientology. It's a very vindictive way of looking at things.
And so leading up to my first video in 2014, 2015, that's what it took me that long to do my doubt condition. Yeah. So my attack on that other group, which you're talking about, as I was still applying Scientology as I'm leaving Scientology. But that was my attack, was that 2.5 or 3 hour long video of after 10 years, I'm finally out.
Wow, you were doing that as part of your doubt condition,
Yes.
that video?
Yes.
And putting it out there and trying to figure it out as you're speaking?
Yes.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that. So you don't know which direction you're going to go in. Are you basically trying to figure out, Marcus, does Scientology hold my eternity? Should I go back to Flag? Should I do what they say? Should I, be a
Oh, no, I had
Scientologist?
decided. No, I had decided that they were not an organization that should be helped
Through this formula.
through the formula. Yeah.
Very interesting how you use Scientology to get out of Scientology. And you're not the first one to do this
it
because it's all we can think with. It's all we can think with,
It took me years to rationalize it, what they call in Scientology, handle my own considerations
Yeah.
about the application of it.
What do you mean specifically?
Well, I mean, using the condition of doubt to determine it's like using the source to determine the source in the certain sense, because like how could from say a senior viewpoint, some little demigod in the church would say, you can't use Scientology to undo Scientology because you wouldn't have the Scientology without the Scientology. You know what I mean? So I had to handle that on consideration for myself before I could accept the result of doubt, which I came with same conclusion over and over again, which was I don't really want to be part of it. I don't really want to be part of it.
I know. And why couldn't we have worked that out while we were in Scientology, do you think?
Well, there's a lot of coercion going on.
Yeah.
There's groupthink. You've got positive and negative reinforcements all over the place. You've
And
got
you're also told that Scientology is
data
always going to
traps.
be, yep, I love that word. You're also told that Scientology, in a program that it's the greatest good. So you're never going to question Scientology. That's why the conditions are built in to circle back around to always agreeing with Scientology.
Yeah,
That's all they're about,
it's actually
actually.
kind of tough because the greatest good for the greatest number is part of the doubt condition. And I, as a Scientologist, deciding whether I was going to continue being one, had to work out how the hell am I going to justify the greatest good for the greatest number when this tech itself is supplying me. This is my viewpoint at the time. This tech itself is supplying me with the tool to deconstruct it.
That's why I'm saying minus the conditioning, we would have been able to use Scientology to get our asses out by applying these conditions, which you did. So how the fuck did you do that? And if you want me to pull up the steps, I can do that too, if you want
I
me
mean,
to.
that's what I basically just explained it. It took a couple of years, but like I would do the doubt, and every time I would do the doubt, there'd be some new consideration that I would have about using doubt in order to get out of Scientology.
Meaning it was like something you shouldn't be using necessarily, or you
Yeah.
had doubts about what you were concluding by using the
Well,
formula to work out
here's the
Scientology?
thing. When you do a here's how here's how I was doing the doubt. I was doing the doubt to find more doubt, and I would do a doubt on that doubt. And then it's like a MU chain, right? An MU chain is where you have a misunderstood word, and then the course supervisor says, "Oh, here." And then all of a sudden there's 8 fucking books, and because you've gotten into a
Right,
definition and they say they're checking you on the definition and you flunk,
right.
and then they're like, "Oh, is there another word you don't misunderstand?" And you can get 16, 17, 18 words deep into a word clearing chain. Well, I was doing this with the doubt condition.
Makes total sense. Wow, man. When did you finally suss at using the doubt condition? What did you have some grand cognition, or how did you use it to figure it out then?
I inform one. So inform oneself honestly was like, I go back to that every single time, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's the number one step.
It's it for right
Inform
here.
oneself honestly of the actual intentions. And as I would do them more and more, I would get braver and braver and kind of
Mm-hmm.
stick my toes in the pool and then
I
go out
see.
into the internet and then
Really?
yeah, and
So you're on
every
the internet at this point, seeking out a little bit of information,
yeah,
whereas you
I'm
weren't doing
married.
that
I got a
before.
kid. I'm doing my doubt. Like I'm trying to work it out. I do still have people calling me. Dominic's calling me. Dominic's talking to my fucking wife sometimes.
Wow. Wow. Yeah, I
Um,
know the pressure cooker that you're under. Yep.
yeah. So, um, when Going Clear came out, I watched it
That was
with
2015, I believe.
yeah.
Okay. Just to give some timeline.
Wait a minute. Was it 2015?
We always argue over this. I'm pretty damn sure it is. I'm gonna have to look it up now.
2012.
No. Really?
Yeah. 2015. Going
See, I told
Clear.
you. You just maybe look that
Right.
up. We got these dates burned into my head, dude.
Okay. So,
So
I
you would
had already decided that I was done, but Going Clear because I had heard
Oh, it's a great movie.
the fucking what you call it? It's not a movie.
Sundance was promoting it.
Yeah,
And it
yeah,
was
yeah.
good.
There you go.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
Sundance, and just the hype, right?
Yep.
Um, Prior to that, I had watched some of God, why can't I remember his Jerry Armstrong? I watched some of
Right.
Jerry Armstrong's stuff, which I'm not even sure is still online or available anywhere anymore.
That's a good point. Well,
Um,
Marcus, real quick, what were you thinking when you first started to come across this negative information? Did it send ripples down? Was it hard to confront?
oh
Was
yeah,
it
it was
scary?
very hard to yeah. It was like I had a frog in my throat.
I understand, brother. It's kind of
So
terrifying, right? Because you knew you weren't
very
really supposed to be looking at this stuff, right?
very because the next time because they always maintained a comm line with me, a connection with me.
Right. So you
So
exactly, and that
never,
makes that you're not free on your own to come up with this. You know, if you fuck up on this, you're
yeah,
still in common with these people, and you could
I,
jeopardize your
I could.
future if you get this wrong. Yeah,
That's right.
I know exactly what you
So,
mean, dude.
between Kathy, Dominic, Monica, all these people that I did want in my life, Kathy, I could care, I could go
You
either
got to
way,
stop saying that,
but,
man. I have
but
to. We set a precedence. Continue.
sorry.
Just kidding.
Yeah. And I kind of wanted to know how Tom was doing his liver surgery and stuff, replacement. And, so, but it wasn't like, it was it came down to a point to where it was like, yeah, like 2015 and 2014, those 2 years. Is in 2014 I was back in college and studying law, and they had a law class that year with Thomas Lane, who was really, we were lucky to get him for the time that we had him, but he taught a government class just for the one semester. Everyone failed it, but we all learned so much. He worked in Washington D.C. with a senator from Idaho, but
Say what?
yeah,
You
yeah.
lost me there, but
Well, he was just he was very an astute lawman and statesman. So like
by the
anyways.
way, any other Scientologists that are listening, ex-Scientologists, hey Edna, how did you guys get out? If you don't mind, I mean, it helps with the stupid algorithm, and I mean, it's like this is channel number 3, and it takes forever to try to, get them to give it any promotion. It helps if you leave comments. So maybe one of the comments you guys could leave, if the X's, I'd love to know how the fuck did you get out of it? Because this is a really tricky thing. Did you guys go through the conditions? Did you use the tech to get out of it? Did something like happen to me where you got the right information and a book got dropped off? Because this part takes fucking forever. And you easily, bro, without the triggering of being a father and shit, whatever, you could have easily still been in doubt, and therefore Kathy would have a hold over you to this day. Where this is how Marty Rathbun and shit can kind of be sucked back in. Is if you don't have a real strong integrity and you don't get this mind virus out of your system, the operating system, like you call it, I think that's perfect. It's like
Mhm.
installing an operating system.
Yeah.
If you don't even know that you have that in there and you got out like you did, don't you think you'd always be susceptible to possibly being pulled back in?
I mean, yeah, it's all at a certain point, like you have to factor in
I knew it, Alex. I knew it.
a
At least he's being
human,
honest.
right?
He's OSA. Yeah, that's the thing though. Like I never know. I know Alex isn't OSA. He's just joking. But you never know. With like, there's so much paranoia in my world. Like, because you never know who the fuck is who and this and that and the other thing. It's like,
That's what
fuck.
happens when your operating principles are all aligned to, like, it does not matter what you have to do as long as you get what you need.
Right.
That's because
Right.
when you know that exists, then and you know that other people operate that way, then there's no limit. It's a fear mechanism that forms, I think, out of the idea that other people can act that way too, and there's no limit to what they will or could or will do.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
another reason why you have to get the operating system out of your mind.
Yeah, man.
So after you have the balls and you keep kind of like looking at more and more of this suppressive information,
Uh-huh.
did you have any kind of EP? That means end phenomena. Did you have any wind? Did you have any floating needle? Did you have any certain day where something clicked and you said, "Dude, I'm fucking out here"?
In phenomena is like epiphany.
There you go. Thanks. Thank you.
So that's for everyone who doesn't know the language.
I know, my bad. I gotta stop that.
That's okay. We've been correcting each other as we go. The
Fucking hungry.
EP, yeah, the my epiphany was was prior to going clear, but going clear was the moment where I was like confirmed, done. Like
Anything that movie was so powerful. So was there anything specifically, bro, in that movie, or was it just the whole thing? Like by the time you were done watching it, were you like, holy shit?
Spanky Taylor's story
That's
reminded me
brutal.
some of her experiences were like I feel exactly I feel like I felt those same types of things and experiences that she had, and also went through some similar things, except I was not like John Travolta's dude, but I did watch his kids, and
Let's play it real quick, Marcus. Do you mind if I show people the
oh yeah,
trailer so
sure,
they can see what the hell we're talking about real quick?
sure. I don't know if we're gonna copyright strike, but it shouldn't.
I don't think so. I won't play the whole thing. I'll just play 30 seconds.
Cool.
Someone had told me there's this cult and they'll make anything possible in your life.
I was deeply convinced that we were going to save the world.
It was a transcendent experience.
Jason
You
Begay.
feel euphoric.
Everything you do for endless trillions of years depends on what
Thank
you
you.
do within Scientology.
Just to make sure we don't get in trouble, let's just pause it, and because we have to be talking about it, blah blah blah. It's probably fine, but
Right.
you never know. Okay.
I would say it was it wasn't jaw dropping, but what I had already kind of sussed it with my doubt before, but this watching this was the confirmation for me, and the experience that I had when I realized the church was a destructive entity was jaw dropping for me. So when this came out the year after, I was like, damn it, man. Yeah.
You're like, I knew it all along. Or God damn it, because you were working.
I didn't know it all along.
No,
I didn't know it all along.
No, you didn't at all. But you were trying to suss it with the conditions and that, and this thing finally just, Marcus, that's powerful, man. Because this movie's incredible.
Well, the guy who did it has won so many fucking awards.
Alex Gibney, yeah.
He's fantastic.
And this movie is
Lawrence Wright also. Lawrence Wright was heavily involved in this as well.
Not in Scientology.
No, in this production. Lawrence Wright. He wrote.
I'm sorry. Right. He wrote it, and Alex Gibney directed it.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a great book too. Just to finish it off real quick, Marcus,
yeah, let's do it. Let's do it.
Satisfied the copyright.
They sell it all in the beginning as something quite logical.
You take on a matrix of thought that
is not your own.
So strong that it sticks you like glue.
We're very suggestible.
You just don't see it happening to you. You justify so much.
There is no logical
It's Mike Render. Just another pause, just to fucking
Happy Meal, Mike.
We'll take it back on Mike's voice, but just to, I don't want to fuck with copyright here, man.
Yeah.
Logical explanation other than faith.
That ending song is worth playing twice. This is my favorite part of the trailer and the movie, dude. There's a part in the movie, Marcus, you remember, where Serge is talking about how Hubbard wanted to blow up the body thetans on him, and this guy Serge had to make a e-meter that would electrify.
Oh, yeah. It
was going to kill Hubbard. And
Yeah.
then right at the end of this, they had this cool little graphic, and then they play this music, this right here. If that doesn't scream UFO cult soundtrack right there, nothing does, because that's fucking epic.
Yeah,
dude.
and then the guy just he installed a really cheap fuse
to
make
blow
it,
Hubbard's ass up.
because Hubbard really really was trying to commit suicide. Like,
I know, he thought he was infested with BTs. This is why he really did start to fall into and believe his own shit. And the same with David Miscavige. Even though he changes the tech, they have a BT grounding unit at Gold apparently, where people can hold on to and ground their BTs.
hot damn! I bet it works too.
Yeah. Oh, if you believe in BTs, I'm sure everything else follows from there.
Yeah.
So, okay, we're almost done, Marcus. I don't want to keep you here forever, but this is good shit, man. So it was the freaking,
we've cracked some eggs open.
I think we got to where we needed to get to, but this is amazing. Just real quick before we bail out, can I ask you, like, I already was out when I watched Going Clear, and that's, to use a Scientology term, that's out gradient, maybe from like where you were at, not even knowing that there's really anything wrong with you yet, up to seeing that movie. You must have been, did you need a few days to take that in?
No, it wasn't. I was preparing myself to watch it, so
Meaning you knew it was going to be
I
anti-Scientology and you just didn't
no.
know how much?
I
Or-
knew it was going to reveal a lot of what I already knew, but I knew
Okay,
that some of it was going to be what they call outgradient, which means too much for someone to handle. It's
I
like when you have too
understand.
much, when if you're overwhelmed, they call it outgradient. So, but
And
there's
was it
also
like that for you? Was it overwhelming?
it was overwhelming, but it was not outgradient. It was the exact right gradient because I had already. What it did is it just sort of sprinkled the icing on the cake for me. You know, I had already, like I said, Jerry Armstrong did a ton of stuff that was underrated and overlooked, and he's been overlooked for years. No one probably even knows who the hell Jerry Armstrong is,
Right,
but
right.
he did a lot of speaking out at churches, just regular old churches, and telling people what Scientology was doing to people and how they did it and like why it was bad and and sharing his experience with it and then being followed. You know, he was an older gentleman and this was, you
Right.
know, kind of like Hannah Whitfield type situation with him. And he may even I don't know if they know each other. I know they're bound to know each other. Hannah Whitfield and Jerry Armstrong. And Jerry Armstrong was on the boat too. So Mike would know who Jerry Armstrong is for sure.
Yeah, he kind of threw him under the bus a little bit too. I don't know what the history of them is, but
Well, Jerry is a little damaged, you know,
I know
like we
he is,
all are.
man. But he has a voice too that's been suppressed back in the Sea Org days. I'm not gonna
It
get
has
into that,
been,
dude, because
and
things are
the
changing.
thing was is he couldn't handle the pressure. It stressed him out so
Understandably
much.
so,
It
dude. That guy's
angst,
been through hell and back, man.
anxiety got just like bad
Yeah, he did, Hubbard.
anxiety disorder.
And let's not forget, it's the early people like Arnie Lerma and Jerry Armstrong and stuff
Yeah,
who
right.
really did the legwork and took all the hits
Yep.
so that we can do what we're doing today.
And
These guys went
Tori
Tory too,
pecking
Chrisman.
away,
Yep.
pecking away, pecking
And
away,
there's
you
a
know,
whole bunch of other
short
ones.
stuff.
Jesse Brins, fucking Stacy Brooks. There's a million of them that I'm thinking of now. But these are
Yeah,
the people
Jenna
I never
Miscavige.
forget. Yeah.
I
These
mean,
people really were being attacked. It's
Ron
not like
Miscavige
today.
Sr.
Right, right. I mean, they had freaking
It's
private
different
investigators.
now, and I'm so glad that there's more and more and more and more. And I haven't been paying attention to the Masterson trial at all. I
Me
still think it's
neither.
going to get away with it,
So do
but
I.
you know,
I already figured that in before the trial started. That's why
it.
I kind of lost interest. But I hope I'm wrong, dude. I'm so willing and want to be
I want
wrong.
to be wrong about this more
I
than
really do, man.
anything because
It
like
would be amazing.
it would
Do
be
you
a
guys, to end this off, since we cut it at a good point, and
yeah.
then we'll pick it up from there, Marcus, when we do your story, but we'll probably break down the bridge or do something. We'll discuss between us what we're going to do next week,
Sure.
guys.
And
But
we're open to I have suggestions, right?
exactly. Please leave a comment because it was someone that talked about, I'll
I
pull it
try
up.
to read all the comments and interact with people as much as possible.
I do too. And even though sometimes I get a little bit too busy to interact all the time, I do read all of them and take your notes in.
do
That's where
too.
we got the idea from one of the gals that left it on part 4, Marcus, about, hey, break down the fucking, show us what you do as Scientologists. Let's see the goddamn levels. Let's see the whole fucking bridge because we don't even know what the hell you guys are doing. So yeah, that will definitely shape the show.
Indeed.
What was I going to fucking say that before we ended off? I wanted to ask the audience a question. God, Marcus, that thought, just like you said earlier, was hanging by a thread, and I just lost it. Shit, man. Oh yeah, I guess that was it. Just if you have anything that you want us to discuss, or anything that's on your mind, or no matter how weird it is,
Even if it's like in the intro, if like, hey, put a picture of my daughter that graduated in the newspaper, in the spinny newspaper, I could do something like that.
Not sure that would have been the first thing to cross people's minds, but we're open to all suggestions.
I'm just saying.
I like
That's
it.
what
Hey,
I'm saying. We're open to I'm open to suggestions.
Okay.
I think it's good that we talk. The more nonsense we talk, I think the more
ideas people will get.
Well, no, I mean nonsense in terms of like we're explaining this, and then we did in this session we did a little bit of TR stuff. Yeah, this broadcast session. It is a session. That was another thing that always is a trigger word from, not a trigger word, but like it always made sense to me. Sessions, because recording sessions,
No,
music
totally.
sessions,
I know.
sessions,
And
sessions,
again, that's
sessions.
kind of why our Hubbard chose that as well. I don't think I said your name, but I will now. Weird Debbie M. How about that? So,
yeah. So yeah, fucking just suggest a way.
like I said, we have some ideas. We're still brainstorming it, but this
Oh, we're gonna go up the whole damn bridge.
we are, but there's other things too. And what I'm
For
trying
free.
to do is decide whether or not to keep it free
And Hubbard's
flowing.
gonna pay for it.
Damn right. And I'll run Hubbard in the chat. It's 50% off a free personality test, though. So I think we break even, bro.
Yeah.
We do have plans on where we're going to take the show, but it's a matter of what you guys want to see, and then also whether or not we're going to structure it in a certain way and just do a bridge series, 10 videos in one shot, or do some break down the basic books also, and then the ex-Scientologist books as well, and some other ideas. We're just trying to determine if we want to structure it a certain way or just kind of do it randomly, as well as specifically what you guys want to hear, because we don't want to waste a bunch of time talking about topics and stuff that aren't interesting to you. Anyways, guys, it's been going for 2 hours. Really good to see you, and enjoy the rest of your weekend, my friends. Take care.